Deforested, eroded, depleted. This piece of land in Ethiopia is a typical example of the consequences of a failed agriculture. Wind and rain ablate the fertile soil. Agriculture is no longer possible here. Or is it? There is another way. Farmer Batiwel Kapesi maintains his field after the FMNR method, farmer-managed natural regeneration, based on the realization that even under slashed and burned earth are still living roots of indigenous trees. The shoots, protected and pruned, grow again. Even after 1 or 2 years, there are trees again. They provide shade, hold water and soil, and fertilize the earth. The crop yields of farmer Batiwel Kapesi have more than doubled. FMNR is not only suitable for cropland management. Even former forests on mountain slopes may be naturally reforested again, as here in the Ethiopian region Humbo. Farmers have formed in 2006 several cooperatives. Since then they maintain regrown trees, with good results, as farmer Ergene Sosa tells. We all benefit. The forest provides firewood, saves water, protects our fields from floods and landslides. We harvest more. Our children can go to school and eat better. They are healthier. In addition, children do no longer die in the floods that came down from the mountain in former years. The Australian Tony Rinaldo has developed FMNR and brought the method to the farmers in Ethiopia. Meanwhile, the method is used in 20 countries. 20 million hectares of forest and farmland are green again. Rinaldo expects 90 million hectares that could be cultivated only in World Vision projects to FMNR. Initially, some 20 years ago in Senegal and Niger, persuasion was hard work. But the advantages convinced even suspicious farmers, says Tony Rinaldo.
People say, I can't wait 10 years for a tree to grow. And in Niger, the old farmers used to tell me, if I plant a tree, maybe my grandchildren will benefit, maybe my children will benefit, but I never will. And the thing is, it's just not true. And we've seen spectacular changes and benefits even within 1 year. And so the sorts of things that we're seeing when you prune these tree stumps that are shooting up many, many stems, immediately there's a small amount of firewood. Because you leave the leaf litter on the soil, the fertility is starting to slowly increase. Beneficial insects and birds start to come back. The birds eat pest insects. Many, many benefits right from the start. And in Senegal, we've even measured crop yields have doubled in the first year.
In an adjacent area, which was also only barren wasteland a few years ago, life has returned. Together with the trees, also 13 springs reappeared. A river carries now water the entire year. Children do not need to walk far to fetch water. They now have more time for school. The microclimate has changed, and so the entire climate could benefit from the FMNR, says UN Dryland Ambassador and scientist Dennis Garrity. Because there is no doubt that especially developing countries are experiencing a massive change in the climate.
Well, the evidence is clear that temperatures, say in Africa, have risen at least 1 to 2 degrees over the past 20 years. That's the scientific evidence. The temperatures are on average higher. There's also clear evidence that the frequencies of droughts and floods in many places have increased. The frequency of typhoons and hurricanes in Southeast Asia has increased and intensified. So these could be attributed to climate change.
Instead of droughts, instead of floods, farmers who practice FMNR are living in a safer environment. They harvest and sell more crops, fruits, and they can raise more animals. Tim Costello, World Vision Australia's Chief Executive Officer, is convinced that FMNR is a very powerful instrument to fight the global climate change and to ease the global injustice.
So if you ask me, is FMNR important for climate change, I say it is really the simplest key, because we have very costly programs around climate change. There's $10 billion in the Green Fund. But already, without any dollars, lots of poor farmers, just with the machete, have regreened their country, have got better food for their children. This works. This is truly miraculous. The great injustice in our world is that we in the West have done the damage. We've put the carbon up there, and it's the farmers who are the poorest in Africa and their children paying the price. And now we're seeing the reverse. The farmers in Africa are actually doing the work to overcome the greed and damage that the rich West has done. And that's why we must support them and celebrate them.
The inhabitants of this area in the Ethiopian Sodo regional project of World Vision received by the World Bank money from emissions trading, because their forests reduce emissions of the greenhouse gas carbon. With the income, they now build a small lodge for tourists, where they offer attractions like the Skofe ceremony. Another sustainable source of income and future jobs for their children.